Hi everyone, it's Todd Milewski from the State Journal here with the wrap-up of the Badgers' 5-4 overtime loss to Penn State on Saturday, December 11th, the last game before the break for the Badgers, and it was a wild one. The Badgers were down 4-1 after 2 periods and being outshot 42-12, which, as I wrote in my story, is not always, when you're playing Penn State, indicative of necessarily how the game's going. But tonight it was. I say that because Penn State throws shots to the net from everywhere. Some of them are harmless. They all count. But tonight, that was the spread of the game. It was that lopsided in favor of Penn State for most of the first 2 periods. But the Badgers dig themselves out of that hole. Carson Bantle scores the second of the game. Corson Kuhlman scores the second power play goal of the game for the Badgers. And then in the last minute, Jack Gorniak makes it 4-4 on a play where it looked like he was running out of gas, had been on the ice for a while, and still found a shot from the left side that hit the right post and went in. That was an impressive comeback for the Badgers, knowing everything that has happened to them this season. Hasn't been much of a success, yet they were still able to recover from what was. I don't necessarily know how to, if it's possible to overemphasize this. Dreadful first 40 minutes tonight, but they came back and got a point out of it. Now that's not really gonna do much for them. It does. In a small matter, it keeps the Badgers ahead of Penn State after the weekend, so they won't start 2022 in last place. So if you're looking for small things, I guess there you go. But that is infinitesimally small at this point in the season. Paul DeNaples scores the winner in overtime for Penn State. You'll remember that he was ejected from Friday's game for a grasping the face mask penalty during a scuffle with Roman Ashan. And so for him coming out of here was with a winner has to be a pretty important turnaround for him. Guy Gadowski, the Penn State coach, was saying that sometimes the hockey gods make up for things, and he thought that's kind of what happened tonight for DeNaples. I was really impressed this weekend by Danny Janiev for Penn State, a freshman, small guy, 5'4", 145 he's listed at. But man, he gets around. He gets there fast. He when he wants to go somewhere, he goes, and he's not worried about getting hit. Doesn't look like. He scored tonight. Had 2 assists. I thought he was really good. But for the Badgers, it was. Bantle scored twice, his second and third of the season. You have to be impressed by the comeback and the fact that they didn't throw up the white flag down 4-1 after 2. But you can't look past those first 2 periods, and that's Tony Granato afterwards was certainly not looking past that. He doesn't throw a lot of sarcasm in post-game sessions, but he did tonight. He said he's going to call the Big Ten and see if next week they can play a 10-minute game, because that's all they played tonight. Which was, that's a pretty good indictment of the way the Badgers played tonight. And I see a message here a comment here from Rick. Won't sugarcoat it. They were awful tonight. Yeah, for most of the game they were. It wasn't pretty. I think you have to give them credit for what they did in the third period after all that. But that credit doesn't get them much except for that point, like I mentioned in the standings. And it's still a loss that they take into the break, and now they have a break until December 28th. They'll return to practice, I believe, on the 29th 26th, right after Christmas, getting back into town from the holiday, and then a quick turnaround to go and play in Milwaukee against Yale in the holiday face-off on the night of the 28th. The Badgers will play the 7:30 game both days, regardless of how they do on the first day, as I understand it. Be on the lookout for a story about how the holiday face-off came together logistically over the holidays for me. I've been working on that one for a while, and I'm kind of excited to get that one out there. But this is a bitter pill, I think, for the Badgers to swallow. Not only that they came back but still lost, but also how flat-footed they were. Jack Gorniak said he thinks it's possible that UW didn't respect Penn State enough coming into tonight's game after last night's win. Which, I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team that have played many times against Penn State, and they know what's coming, and it showed up right away tonight. An interesting thing, though, the Coach's Challenge was big in both games this weekend. Friday night, Tony Granato challenged that scrap between Roman Ashan and Paul DeNaples for the grabbing the face mask, which was not initially called. That review turned into a major penalty and game misconduct, gave Badgers after the Ashan penalty elapsed, gave them 3 minutes of power play in which they scored twice, turning a 1-0 game into a 3-0 game. They eventually won 4-1. And tonight, Guy Godowski used his Coach's Challenge early in the first period. Connor McEachran scored to put Penn State ahead 1:43 into the game, and the Badgers had a response immediately. Won the faceoff, win in the zone, and got a Matty DeSaint foul goal 8 seconds later to tie it at that point. But Penn State called for the challenge, seeing that Gorniak was ahead of the play as he entered the zone, and that's what the replay saw. It was a quick replay, so it was pretty cut and dried there that was offside, and so that one came back. And Kevin Wall scored for Penn State 8 minutes into the game to make it 2-0, but then he got ejected 15 seconds later in another weird event tonight for a hit on Corson Kuhlman's. That's 2 high hits on Corson Kuhlman's that have led to ejections this season in the first half here, and I know the Badgers are protective of that, we should say. He missed time, Kuhlman's missed time after the first one against Minnesota, missed in both games the next weekend. Kuhlman's came right back. He was really good in the third period, I thought, goal and 2 assists. And that was a turnaround there. Carson Bantle scored the first of his 2 goals in the power play to make it 2-1. But Ben Shane scored in the last minute of the first period to make it 3-1 after Josh S. stepped up at the right point to try and keep the puck in the zone and didn't do so, and that gave Penn State an odd man rush that Shane finished off on a rebound. A big play there to go in 2 goals ahead at the break. They had to do it, made it 4-1, and in Geniev's goal in the second period. And fast forward, I already mentioned the 3 goals from the Badgers. Another weird moment. It's kind of a surreal thing. So the fans tonight, it was teddy bear toss night. The fans tonight had been told, hold the teddy bears until the end of the game. At the end of the game, throw them on the ice. And they took that to the letter of the law. As soon as DeNaples scored in overtime, here come the teddy bears in bags, and it was just a surreal scene. Penn State's flooding onto the ice to celebrate, and here come all the teddy bears. Just a weird moment there, and kind of so one of those just things that I'm not sure how it was going to look. I mean, if it was weird timing, probably regardless, to have a bunch of teddy bears coming down to the ice as soon as the game ends, but that's how they organized it, so that's what happened. That's going to wrap it up for the first half of the season here. I'll be back December 28th from Milwaukee at Fiserv Forum to talk about those games. Badgers play Yale. Bowling Green plays Providence in the first round. I will have this week the Milewski on Hockey will be a look back at the first half and what we've learned about the men's and women's teams. Then the following week, this week I will be asking for mailbag questions for the Milewski on Hockey the week leading into Christmas. So would appreciate if you have a question for me to answer. Drop me a line on Twitter, on Facebook, or an email. You can find an email on my stories, and I will get to that in the mailbag. Thanks for joining me here. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Have happy holidays, everyone, and make sure you check out our stories on madison.com and in the State Journal. Have a good night, everyone.